Honorable Men Discord. Let's talk Nas and Premier Light Years.
How you see yourself is how you perceived. I see a man strong, gifted, head strapping, never down on his knees, begging. Gotta make a way, even in my darkest hour. Say the odds against me was new. I would never cower.
As always, welcome back to another episode. If you haven't already, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and by all means, jump in the comments and let's get into it, because I'm here for it. So, in 3 days, Nas and Premier drops their album, Light Years. Now, this episode is going to be non-filtered. It's going to be my true opinion on this. And I'm a Nas fan, so let's be clear. If you've been following this channel, if you're a new subscriber, I'm a Nas fan. That's my favorite artist. As far as rap is concerned, that's my favorite rap artist. But at the same time, as an artist myself, I'm always going to be 100% honest with my take and my view on things. So let me just say this. Initially, when I heard he was doing a full album with Premier, I'm not someone who just jumps on the bandwagon and was super excited about it. And I'm going to tell you why. Premier, and I say this respectfully, Premier and what he's done for rap, for different artists, for what he's done for his group, Gangstar, what he's done for Guru, has been an amazing, amazing run. All right? But, and here's where I need you guys to jump in the comments. And this is my take, my opinion, respectfully. I don't know Premier to have ever done an entire project that was classic. I'm going to say it again. I know some people probably going to say, I can't believe he just disrespected Premier. I'm a grown man. This is grown man talk. This is Nas Light Years with Premier. So, I don't know a project that Premier has done entirely that was a classic. If I missed it, hit me in the comments. Let me know you're crazy, you're talking crazy. Listen to this project and recant your statement immediately. If you got the proof to show me, show it to me. I followed Gangstar. I like what he did with Gangstar. I like what he did for various artists, big names. You know what he did on for Biggie. All right, Biggie's first album, Ready to Die, unbelievable. I believe that was Premier. He also did a cut for Jay-Z that came in my mind just before hitting the record button for this episode. He might have did a few cuts for Jay-Z, if I'm not mistaken, but there's one that stands out. I don't know the name off top, but this is about Nas. This is why I didn't really look into that. But hear me out with this. I don't know Premier of having a track record. I hope I said that right. I don't recall a track record of Premier where he made an entire project that was classic. With that being said, that was one of my main concerns. Hello?
Yo, my bad. Yo, what's up?
Yeah.
Yeah. Still driving, but yeah, I was giving you a ring back.
So listen, I'm gonna add you onto this episode. I started it up. I didn't hear from you. We're gonna have you on here with the audio, all right? I was just going into my concern initially with the whole knowing that Premier was doing an entire Nas project. By the way, audience, this is G. He was on my episode. Where we were covering Nas and his casino run. And by the way, I have to correct something. The Nas casino run, the casino will not be in Flushing. I'm being told it's the old Aqueduct area, which is more like Queens, Long Island area. So I was incorrect with speaking on it being in Flushing. So I had to put that out there. But yeah, G, and hopefully the audio gets picked up good. I got you off the phone. Did you have any concerns about the Nas album? Oh, and let me tell you this. For those of you watching this episode, I'm not even sure he's aware, but we were going to do this episode with one another, and at the time of us discussing this, I didn't see that Nas dropped the track list, which I have up on the screen right now. So, cuz I don't know if you know this, but he dropped the track list on his IG.
Okay. About time. Any collabos?
All right. Would you like me to go through the titles?
Sure.
All right. So I'm gonna go through the titles, and then you have the floor to let everyone know your thoughts on this Nas and Premier project. All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So the track list. First of all, it's 15 songs. The first song is "My Life Is Real." Then you have it looks like it says "Get Ready." New York State of Mind Part 3. Whew. Welcome to the Underground. You got Madman. You got Pause Tapes. You got Writers. You got Sons. And in parentheses it says Young Kings. It has It's Time. It has Nasty Esco Nazir. You have My Story, Your Story featuring AZ. You have Bouquet to the Ladies in parentheses. It's called Bouquet. You have Junkie. You have Shine Together. And you have Third Childhood. So before you even let me know what you think about this, for those of you watching, again, I told you Nas is my favorite artist. So track number 3, which is New York State of Mind Part 3. I mean, that's an homage to, I believe, Part 1 was Illmatic. Part 2 was I Am. And this is Part 3. And then this Third Childhood, I know Second Childhood was on Stillmatic. I don't even know if he had a First Childhood, but I guess this is just the his way of just playing with an old title. So this is Third Childhood. And by the way, Second Childhood on Stillmatic was phenomenal. But Cuz, what's your take on all of this?
Well, I'm glad that he finally put out the track listing, because that gives us kind of like a blueprint or a roadmap to what to expect to a certain extent. No shocker that they would revisit some of the classics with hopefully an updated beat or flair to it. And that's specific to the 2 tracks that you're talking about. It would be really interesting to see what his reflection is on New York Part 3, because he's approached this topic at different stages of his life, which is appropriate when you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Nas is one of those artists that we've all grown with him in a very real way as he's gotten older. He makes timeless, relevant music for us. And then the Third Childhood is an interesting take on the psychological term Second Childhood, because basically he was explaining why grown people act like kids in the original song.
Because I don't mean to cut you off, but I have to catch this, because this is a very interesting point. And I know some people are gonna maybe they will, maybe they won't. They might have something to say about this. This comes at an interesting time when DJ Academics basically called out the way the panel for the podcast with Jim Jones, Mano, Fabulous, not so much Davies, because Davies is younger than all 3 of them, but DJ Academics, I don't know if you're aware of this, he called out the panel about how they dress. You know, he referenced, I think, Jim Jones as he's a senior citizen, the way he dresses. And he recently responded back to something Mano said, but that's going to be in another episode. I'm going to discuss that. But whilst you're on the line, cuz, what's your thoughts on that? Because it's almost like I'm assuming Nas may be addressing men around his age not really maturing. And not to say that we even know what he's going to discuss on this Third Childhood record, but what's your take on that?
Yeah, just to finish my original thought, I don't necessarily think he'll be addressing specific gender, but more so the psychological state of mind that he's observed now that he's in his latter years. There's another stage of development that maybe we're not aware of, or maybe we don't strive to be at, that he will address. In a kind of like circular fashion, it should revolve right back to maybe some of the thoughts that DJ Academics has in regards to some of the elder statesmen in hip-hop trying to dress or brand themselves as though they just came out. But that's part of our culture. I think that with the culture that we have that does not really lean into evolving, progressing in a lot of different ways other than just getting money. I think, the hood culture is you progress by getting money and then more money and then more money and then more money. However, nothing from a mental or a maturity standpoint really does change. You don't evolve, or at least we don't highlight it. You don't evolve to eating at better restaurants, drinking better wines. Every video that Mano, Fabulous, well, not Fabulous, take Fabulous out of it, Mano and Jim Jones are in, they're referencing back to what they feel as though the golden era, of hip hop, or the golden era of drug running. And they want to dress like that era. They want to emulate that era. So they're stuck in that type of psychological state of development that probably Nas is going to address in a different way than he did in Second Childhood. Mm-hmm. So that's my only really thoughts on it. It's a catch-22. If you come from a certain environment, we've been in the environment, we've seen it, we know how difficult it is for even grown men to elevate to another thought process or another way of living. One of the examples that comes to mind is Beanie Siegels. He's been making his rounds on the podcast tour, and on one note, I'm really happy that he's getting his just due. Beans is, when you have to really sit back and think about it, Beans was neck and neck with Jay in terms of his lyrical capabilities and potential at one point. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to sit here and say that he made the same type of hit records, but at one point I would say that their potential was neck and neck, right? You can hear on certain verses and certain collaborations where Beans is like his writing style is really advanced, and I think he doesn't, to me, hit the similar notes of just being a gangster rapper. He always had some meaning, some thought behind his lyrics. And when you go back and listen to them now, they feel really well developed for a guy that's stuck in this same psychological state we're talking about. So I think he's always a surprise. But just to close the loop on that thought, I just think that Nas is always very intelligent with the way he approaches his work, his projects, and apparently he still has a lot more to say. And that track listing, is kind of like a blueprint or a guide letting us know kind of like sort of the North Star, the direction he's going to have us go in for this journey with Premier.
All right. So with all that you just said, do you think this is going to be a successful project following the run he had with Hit Boy? Because I didn't even get into that. And I was about to get into that before you called. One of my concerns that I mentioned prior to you calling was that I don't know of a DJ Premier fully produced project, not records, a fully produced project that is super successful. And I would have to think of a Gangstar project, a full album that was classic. Now, I maybe I'm missing it, and I say this respectfully, in terms of addressing DJ Premier, I say respectfully, but I don't know of a full project that was classic. And that's why I get worried when artists do projects with just one producer. So this is why I was a little bit skeptical about this project, and I'm still a little bit skeptical. I mean, I would have been skeptical with Hit Boy also, because I didn't know much about Hit Boy other than the records he's done for some West Coast artists. So when Nas said he wanted to do a project with Hit Boy, and then he ended up doing a project with Hit Boy, I didn't know what to expect. But then I was pleasantly surprised, like many of you all, when King's Disease dropped and all the other projects following that. But with this, I'm a little bit skeptical because I don't know of Premier doing a full project. Then my other concern was whether or not he would be able to recreate himself and tap into a sound that pays homage to what he's done in the past, plus open up doors for new listeners. So I don't know what to expect. So I'm 50-50 on this project, but yet and still I'm excited to hear what they have to, put out there.
Yeah, I would agree. I think initially we just mentioned two different kind of like checks on the work that's going to be executed. Number one, we said it's going to be a classic, and then we referenced the term success. I think for your viewers, you've got to outline what does success look like, so that we're all on the same page. I think we're on the same page with what a classic album or work is, which are two distinct different things, I believe personally. I think that you can have a classic album and it not necessarily be commercially successful or a certain form of success depending on how you're defining it. So
Well put. No, that's well
that's
put.
kind of like where I would it's kind of like where I would start the kind of like conversation in terms of success.
So I'm glad you brought that up. So whenever I'm talking Nas, I don't care about commercial success. I don't care about what's playing on TikTok. I've never cared about that. Even though I'm from the generation of the '90s, and here I am, blessed to still be around in 2025. I could care less about what the masses thinks about what's successful. When I speak of success, and when I'm talking about Nas, especially when we talk about DJ Premier, the type of DJ who takes pride in literally digging in the crates through vinyl, the success I'm talking about is this gonna resonate with what people expect from Nas, especially the way he delivered on the Hit Boy production. So I'm not even thinking about radio records. This could be an album, 15 songs of non-radio records, and that would still be a successful project if they deliver a refreshing new take on Premier and Nas. I'll be honest with you, I have to go to this record, and by all means, jump in the comments. Those of you who are watching this, I wasn't a fan of Define My Name that came out in 2024. Now, that record alone made me nervous when I heard Nas was doing a completely produced album by DJ Premier. I just wasn't a fan of that song. As a matter of fact, I wasn't even a fan of Nas's delivery on that song. I wasn't a fan of the beat, and I wasn't a fan of the delivery of Nas on that song. I did like when Premier, I believe, made the beat on, I want to say it was Magic 2, the song with A$AP Rocky. I like that song. I like that song. Well put song. But Define My Name, I was not a fan of it. I was not a fan of what Nas had to say. I mean, not that Nas said anything that was lackluster, but it just wasn't. It didn't bring out the best of Nas to me. But that's my take on it as a Nas fan. What say you?
Yeah, I think anything that Nas puts out, to be honest, at this point, I'll accept. And I think I'm comfortable saying I'm like most Nas fans. We were disappointed in the past with his selection of beats and production. We then went on this fantastic run and journey with Hit Boy. So while we've been spoiled, I don't think we can deny the overall body of work was lacking that kind of like next level production. So I don't think at this point he'll really harm his legacy if there's another fail or, the whole album just isn't to the same level as Hit Boy. I think we understand going into any collaboration with Premier, the sound that you're supposed to expect, and not have any unrealistic expectations of Premier completely changing his style or not. So with that being said, though, that all now puts the ball in Premier's hands. And if he decided that he was going to basically pay homage to what he feels is hip hop and his style of beats and DJing, and just bring Nas along with the journey, that's the album we're going to get. If DJ Premier decided that he wanted to really explore new elements of melody and production, we could be in for a whole other journey. So it's really just a calculation of, where do we think that Premier is in his production wise. And something I never thought about was maybe to go listen to his last 5 or last 4 produced beats, no matter who the artist was, just to get a sense of if he was still clinging to his old ways or he was actually experimenting with new sounds and drum beats and everything else.
So I'm glad
But
I'm glad you brought that up. So those of you watching this episode, you know, I could miss some facts here and there. So by all means, you know, feel free to fact check me as always in the comment section. Feel free to update me if I missed anything. But what you just said, G, the last project that I could think of prior to this, you know, produced by Premier, which wasn't it wasn't 15 songs worth of material, was the Ransom song project that he put out with Ransom, and to me it didn't sound like a reinvention of what Premier usually delivers. So again, that's why I'm on the fence. I'm 50-50 with it. Am I excited for it? Yes, I am, because it's a Nas project. I'm a Nas fan. I know somewhere within this 15 songs, Premier and Nas are going to do something incredible.